Hey, uh, how's it going, everybody? Sorry, some technical difficulties. Straight up, we were just in the wrong video stream. We were in one for tomorrow, and it's a little bit figure all that out. But anyway, we're here now. Welcome to Comic Con at home. This is day 0. But yeah, we're getting started. It sucks, right? It's another year. It's another one of these at home, but we'll make the best of it. So we're going to be doing everything for the next, I think, 4 days. Today through Sunday, we'll have a whole bunch of new releases, some new panels, and we're kicking everything off tonight with this edition of the Mondo Happy Hour. I am Eric. I am one of the creative directors at Mondo, joined here by Mitch Putnam and Rob Jones, my fellow creative directors. We also have 2 very special guests to start with us tonight. First up is Attack Peter, artist extraordinaire.
How's it going?
And then we also have Miragaya here.
Yeah.
Ooh, hello. How's it going?
How's everyone doing, man?
I am tired.
Eric,
What's,
if you don't mind,
It's
I have,
midnight.
if you guys don't mind, I have 3 questions I want to ask right off the top here. You know, as an artist who's been fortunate enough to work with Mondo quite a few times, a lot of people DM me and they ask me like, "Oh, how does this work? How does that work? What's going on with behind the scenes?" And there's 3 of the. Are we frozen? We good?
Murguy has said from the beginning he may have internet issues.
I always have internet issues. Apologies.
Nah, I think we're good.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah,
we're good.
You can hear? Okay, so like these are the 3 questions I feel like nobody's asking, everybody's asking at the same time. So the first one I want to ask you, is it true, and this is really about the roster of Mondo artists, is it true you've had to cut ties with Tom Whalen after he sent over 200 emails recently insisting you guys invest in his new cryptocurrency, Whale Coin?
Okay, first of all, I got to say I love Peter just taking control of the show in the beginning. For those...
I just want to cut the bullshit.
Let me give you a behind the scenes here. Eric, Rob, and I the other day were like, we need Attack Peter to come on here and run this show. So we asked him to come on and run the show. He comes right out of the gate with this shit.
By the way, deflecting, classic deflecting.
No, Tom Whalen is still in. He's still in.
Okay. So you can still buy Whale Coin, but that's not, so whatever. If you got those emails, you can delete them. All right, the second one, this is important. Is it true that Greg Ruth recently tried to submit an inverted version of his Midsummer poster as a design for the upcoming Jackass Forever?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so those of you asking, you can all tweet that out now, by the way. Is it true? This is the last one I wanted to ask. This one's really cutting to the heart of the matter. Is it true you guys recently caught Florian Bertmer running a bot farm and are now referring to him internally as Flippian Botmer?
Yes, that is also true.
Okay. Oh, guys, don't say
his bots would be cursed.
That's go.
I mean, that's right off the bat. Yeah, those are all true, except for the first one. Tom is still in the good graces, but he's on razor's edge. But but yeah, I mean, guys, it's Comic-Con, so we're here to talk about all sorts of things, but mainly we're just here to hang out with some of our friends and with everybody here. So I think we're streaming for the first time we're broadcasting on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. So I'm not sure if the comments are going to be coming through on Facebook, but if you're watching on YouTube and you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. Hang out with, there's a bunch of good folks in there. Any questions that come up, feel free to drop them in there and we might answer them on air. But otherwise, we're just planning on kind of hanging out, having a good time. And then in about an hour's time, Rory Kurtz and Akiko Sterenberger are going to hop on as well to talk about all sorts of things. One of them being a new poster for Logan that we premiered today. So yeah,
real quick, I got to say a couple quick things. So there's already been 2 comments about the Maniac tape that we promised to give away. We actually talked about this, and I don't have any art for this tape at the moment because I have to get new J cards made. But on this stream, we are going to give away 5 copies of just tape in case of the Maniac tape. We don't know when and we don't know how we're doing it, but we're going to do that. Also, Eric, can you bring up the comment from Wolrang about NFTs? Because I do want to touch on this before we get too deep into this.
What's the timestamp on that comment?
Like a minute ago or less. He said. Anyway, so a lot of people that follow our physical work probably have a lot of questions about us getting into NFTs via Vivi, and I wanted to talk real quick about that. I went on a personal mission to find the right place for NFTs for Mondo, and Vivi answered a lot of those questions and made us feel very comfortable. They're collectors. They were already collecting Mondo stuff. It's a carbon neutral blockchain, totally affordable pricing. So all around, we just felt like it was a really good opportunity and a good fit for us. So if anyone wants to check out their app, just check out the Vivi app and look around. And I think you'll see it's quite a bit different than what you've been told NFTs are if you aren't super into that world. I spend a lot of time with friends on Clubhouse talking about NFTs all night and have really immersed myself in this world. And I can promise the collectors of Mondo that I would not have made a partnership if it wasn't the right fit for us and for our collectors. So I think it'll be good for both sides.
Yeah, well said. It's something that Mitch has been living and breathing for a long time now. So we're super excited about the partnership.
Never made mention of it.
We're super excited about the partnership and looking forward on what's to come. But yeah, but trust us that we've thought long and hard about it. Mitch thought long and hard about it, and we feel really good about it.
Alan Campbell just asked, are the artists getting an extra fee on the NFTs? I'll just be totally transparent on this call. I mean, I'm not afraid to be transparent. We're splitting all proceeds on the NFTs 50-50 with the artists that did the original artwork. So everything is totally transparent and shown and split down the middle with them. So in many cases, in all cases, actually, it's an incredible financial opportunity for the artists involved too. And it's an entirely huge new collector market that, quite frankly, before today didn't know much about Mondo. So it's been really cool to be part of.
Yeah, I wish I'd made more posters that people had heard of over these past years with Mondo. Besides Darth Vader with cowboys, which is probably not going to be an NFT anytime soon.
Anyway, so yeah, we can move on to all the crazy physical things we're making today, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into that. I'm gonna pull this thing on.
Yeah,
screen
let's just do a reaction. Let's just go through the things we're going to release and have a room reaction and talk about things.
Hey, I think I froze. You want to kick me out and bring me back? I mean, I look good.
Oh, you do look good.
You look good. You do look good.
Right.
Peter smells so well. I seriously didn't know he was frozen. I was like, oh, God damn, Peter can hold it up. I just can't do it more than 1 second.
Peter, try leaving and then coming back. We'll figure it out. It's a work in progress, everybody. But thanks for hanging out.
You know what it
Glad
is?
to have
It's
you
all these other poster companies trying to have San Diego Comic-Con streams right now. The pipes are just clogged up on the internet, so we're just having trouble getting enough bandwidth.
We'll get it better as we go along. Speaking of Comic-Con panels, tomorrow we have a toy presentation from Hector and Mikey on our toy team. I think they have some special guests. I think the showrunner / creators of XMen, the animated series, might pop in for a little Q&A. We're doing a Wolverine figure, and they're going to talk about all of that exciting stuff. But so that's be coming up tomorrow at 4:00, and then Saturday at noon, I believe, Mo and Spence from our soundtrack team will be doing an artist soundtracks panel. So be sure and tune into those. I'm going to spit a lot of times and dates, I'm sure, but I don't expect anybody to remember all of that. So if you go to mondoshop.com/Comic-Con, you can see everything that we're going to talk about. We're doing kind of a running landing page of everything that'll be coming out over the next 4 days there. So that's a good resource to use. Let me pull this up while Peter sorts out his internet.
Well, we're going to start off with some plugs for the projects.
We should probably come back to those things. We should probably come back to those
when
when Peter's
think of
back.
Pete's Daruma?
Rob, can you go ahead?
I love the.
Yeah.
Actually, no, sorry. What's that, Sharm?
I do. I think it's. Oh yeah, go for it. No. I'm in awe of this thing. I kind of love the base. I love the flowers. I love the story behind it, the packaging, everything about it. It's brilliant.
It's
And,
so rad, man.
Also,
I'm
like
also
Peter's
very
relationship
jealous
to it
because I'm
too.
trying to get my own.
Trying to get your own drum or your own
his
figure?
personal relationship?
Yeah, he apparently he apparently had brought one home from Japan and did the one eye, and he's like, okay, I'm going to make my dreams come true. And apparently, within a year, all the goals he had for art came about, and he told him the other eye. He's like, wow, this thing works really well. I'm going to make it available for everybody.
Sharm, did you mention that you're working on trying to get your own 3D piece going?
I am, yeah. I did a prototype, and he's looking pretty good, but we're going to kind of, I want to do some more testing, but I'm working with an Italian kind of sculptor, and we're going to do a limited run, but it's very small scale compared to what Peter's got going on here.
I love
the excellent Skybound behind me.
I love everything you've been doing, man. I mean, for anyone who's aware, follow Miraga on Instagram, you'll see just a ton of just kind of brand and partner collaborations that he's been doing. So you want to talk a little bit about any of those, Sharm?
I'm trying to think what was the last thing I had up on my Instagram. I can't really remember. I've spent the last year working on projects that I can't really share with anybody, which sucks. But I'm just trying to think. What have you seen of mine? That forgive
one thing
me,
that
it's
I
very
thought was
late, and
one thing that I thought was really cool, and apologies to everyone, we have a little bit of a delay with Sharm, but one thing that I thought was really cool is I know that we've talked a little bit about you wanting to really find more outlets for your personal work and your fine art, and I thought it was really cool that you were sort of one of the main promoted artists for Spoke Art's recent serigraph show of screen prints, and that was really cool to see, and always happy to see you get your personal stuff out there too, because it's incredible.
Thank you, Mitch. Yeah, the personal stuff really, I need it. I need it to kind of inform my commercial work and my intellectual property work. I think without the personal work, I can't generate newer themes and new ideas to then push into the commercial work. So they both tend to work hand in hand. If there's a personal piece, more often than not, you'll see some similarities in a commercial piece that I'm doing. They tend to work hand in hand. It's just the way I like to work. A lot of the Mondo artists, they can roll out a poster after another and not really need to kind of escape to another framework or another type of work. But I very much use them both to help one another. Yeah.
I think a lot of the projects of yours, or some of the projects of yours that I had seen that looked awesome, were just a lot of like textile work that you'd been doing, just kind of partnerships with people. Is that true?
Yeah. I worked with an LA rug maker called Macarena Luzzi, and we did a rug together, which I was very excited about. I'm really happy about that. And I work with Throw & Co., this throw company that kind of this guy Trevor runs. And we did a couple of throws together, and I just really enjoy seeing the work on different materials and different textiles and fabrics and applying it to different mediums. It really gives it a kind of breath of fresh air. So it's a fun thing to do. Similar to the Daruma here with Peter, I'm enjoying seeing the lino cut and then the kind of sculpture next to it and how it translates into a three-dimensional piece.
Look, I appreciate a great
really cool.
segue, but I really appreciate a segue that segues into me. So thank you so much for that. That was fantastic.
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah. Now that you're back, let's talk some Peter consumer products here.
Welcome back, man.
I'm only here for the consumer products. I heard everything that you said about, personal work and having to like have a soul and all that, but just sell your soul and you're good. Like my fourth grade teacher, Miss Fontana, told me, she's like, remember, Peter, life is but a dream and we're just the imagination of our own consciousness. So just don't worry too much about it.
Tell us about Daruma here, man. I see you got one in the back there.
Cool. Look at this. Okay, so let me tell you, here's the thing. So my whole life I've been a big toy fan first and foremost, more than anything else. And because it's such a difficult industry to get into, especially when you live in Miami and there's no one here. Recently, we have an art scene, all of a sudden, there's an art scene now, Art Basel, et cetera, et cetera. But for a long time, we used to get the advice that you need to move out of Miami to be in any kind of art industry. But either way, to get into toys was so difficult and insurmountable that I've realized that I had to kind of like get involved in the medium that I am involved in, linoleum block print making, which was, nobody was really doing it in the pop culture world to, a large extent at least. And then, the fact that there was a different style that I was working in terms of my illustration style and the medium being different. I'm like, okay, well, if people dig this, then we have to start like getting into 3D stuff before someone else does. And so really it was like, I wanted to launch something. I wanted to get into 3D. The people at Skybound were super about it. And then, we got fortunate enough to work with Mighty Jax, who's like one of the best names in like vinyl toy design and like, vinyl art and all that. And so, yeah, the Daruma is based on a linoleum block print that I did a few years ago and a recent one that I did for the concept. And you can actually see it on the box in that picture there. Oh, there you go. You can actually see it in the box. It's all vinyl, and then the base is PVC. It's big. It's bigger than my head. Okay, and I have it's not bigger than my head. It's tantamount to a human head. Which was my only.
I have a product request for you and Skybound and Mighty Jax.
Go ahead.
I would like a Daruma basketball. Can you make this happen?
Okay. Well, listen.
Nice.
I'm going to let you walk the cultural appropriation line on that one on your own, and I'm just going to put the Daruma
basketball appropriation.
There actually is a Daruma basketball floating around on my advertising on Instagram. Have you seen it? It's pretty sick looking. But again,
let's get that collab going.
Yeah. But so this one's out. We're still taking pre-orders. It's supposed to arrive at the homes of people who pre-ordered this fall. So in a few months, you guys will be getting it. It's big. And the first 100, I forget how many there were, first 150, 140 people who pre-ordered it, it's already closed off now, are getting a free Daruma handmade block print to go with it. So that's just a nice pre-order bonus. That was pretty exciting. But this past weekend, let's not bury the lead here. This past weekend, we had Skybound Expo, which was Skybound's version of what Mondo's doing now. It's like our Comic-Con at home. We've been doing them quarterly, and they've been really exciting because you get a bunch of people together, all the departments together. Everybody's working on killer stuff and comics, and now with the Invincible show has been super exciting. And so we released 2 prints on the Attack Peter segment. This first one on the left is Virat Koro. So if you've been paying attention to my work, I've been building this universe around a big giant monster I created called Takaro. He's like a alien octopus, throwback kaiju monster. And shout out print crew. And so I've been every so often when we release a print, it's in the Takaro universe. And you can tell there's those little orange T stamps at the bottom. Those are all going to be canon, those images. We are building out a world through imagery, kind of like the way you would get a little bit of a story every month in a comic if you're reading comics. So we're trying to like build out a narrative, a world through these like big splash page images. And the plan is to put together an art book, which would make sense after a certain amount of art comes out. You want to collect your artwork, but we're going to add a narrative thrust throughout all of it to kind of like establish the world of Takaro, his planet, all the characters and creatures there. So this was the first release of one of our major villains, Virat Koro. So he's laying waste to this humble farming village that has found a rare egg. You can see one of the guys towards the left and the bottom is holding an egg, and Virat gets wind of it.
How do you plan to expand the Takaro universe maybe into comics?
Well, what's funny is like that's where my brain goes first, but I don't know if comics is the right fit in the sense that, number one, I don't know if I want to shrink down to that form factor. I'd rather kind of like, these images are 30 by 20, so they're big. Mm-hmm. And while the artwork does translate well,
I want to see this in animation. Animated episode.
Yeah, right. That's the idea, is to like, for me, if you've been following a lot of the indie video games coming out, like Inside and there's some other cool ones like what's the Limbo. I get this feel that this would be a rad video game where there's part of it is just the design element of it. We have a great guy in the house named Mike Aronson who just did an animation of the Virat Koro's print. You guys jump on my Instagram, you can see it. So sick, and it works super well. So I think that's coming down the pike at some point. But the idea first, one step at a time, is to launch an IP so that, and the narrative, so people like relate to the characters. Everybody's been super into it, and there's not much story been revealed yet. So once we start to put that out there and people know who the characters are, I think it's even better. It's like there are a lot of temptations to do all this merch and do a cool toy and do all this, but like I want to launch some substance with it so that people who've been collecting the art and know a little bit more can, like, you know, proudly speak about it to their friends and when it comes out. And I think it'll have a good grassroots campaign from there. And this is super rad, dude. Look at this. We did a freaking comic.
How do you
Dude, this is awesome.
how do you add the stories? How do you add the storytelling to the characters? Do you write within your kind of social media posts small paragraphs about these characters and kind of give them personalities, or is it blog posts? How do you expand on the actual storytelling of each character?
Well, what I've been doing is I've kind of like come up with a story on my, you know, on my own here, and I haven't shared too much of it, but the artwork that I'm sharing is almost like concept art in a sense, right? So it's like as I'm designing the stuff and I'm like, this is the design, this is what I'm going to go with. Then I turn that into a print. The print becomes available and it will be collected in a book. And then the narrative and the plot and all that will be added throughout. But the truth is, man, is that we have a YouTube channel and we go live, you know, a few times a month. And I design a lot of this stuff with the chat. And so sometimes I'm like, guys, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And then sometimes we're like, that's sick. You should also try this. And what if that? And so we kind of like brainstorm together live in the chat. And it's super fun, dude. It's something that we started doing during the pandemic, obviously, as a way to kind of connect because everybody was kind of isolated. And then now it's just like a cool hang. People come, they go. I mean, we have a print that we did with Takaro versus this giant like humanoid insect moth that was completely designed from start to finish in the chat over a series of episodes that you guys can go back and watch. In fact, the name we came up with was Shiga, the death moth, was a name that came one of the folks in the chat who's actually in the chat right now, Colt named him. And so we just went with it because it was cool. And so basically, dude, like, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid collecting like Hellboy comics and Sin City and like all my favorite artists, and just I wanted to know everything about what was happening in the gestation phase. Like, what is the artist thinking about? What is he throwing? What is he or she throwing out? What's not getting put in? What references are they pulling from? And I've always loved that so much that I decided that if at any point along the way I can make that part of whatever Attack Peter is, that we're all going to be better for it, because it's something I would fucking love to have when I was, you know, coming up. And that's it. That's the only motivation behind it. And so something like this, the Invincible cover, is so crazy because I used to work at a comic book shop for a little while. And I remember working there when Invincible was coming at this issue 19, you know, and picking it up and being like, first of all, Ryan Otley is the sickest comic artist in the game when it comes to like just your mainstream, like badass comics. He's ridiculous. And the story that Robert Kirkman was doing was so good that I'm like, I'm done reading Marvel and DC. I don't need any superheroes. This is perfect. And I used to tell people all the time, you know, this is so good. You guys gotta check this out. Check this out. So now, what, 10, 15 years later, working with Skybound and getting to put, this is weird for so many reasons, you guys. So like, number one, I just said, getting to come full circle after reading the comic as a fan. I stood in line to meet Ryan Otley. I got him to do some sketches for me. I have hit some original pages on the wall that I bought years ago. But also, dude, printmaking on a major comic book cover.
Yeah.
Like, this is not and no offense, but this is not just like a zine that I put together that I can control the art on, you know. Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse. I stood in line to buy Spawn #1 when I was 10. Image Comics was always super important to people my age, you know. And so being able to bring a weird, different, unusual art style to mainstream, it's the second time we do it. Shout out Sean Kirkham and Sean Makowitz at Skybound who believed in it, and it sold like crazy. It sold out.
How big was the line for Spawn when you were 10?
My mom took me. Oh, how big was the line, you said?
Yeah.
Huge, dude. And it wasn't that McFarlane was even there. It was just like people buying speculative covers and shit, you know?
Yeah, man.
Everybody was like, everybody was our age now, like everybody was in their 30s and 40s, and I was 10. And I was like, can I get Spawn? Like, yeah, resell this little shit.
Well, we're gonna have to. We got what, about 10 posters to talk through here, so we're gonna have to start rapid firing through these because.
Heck, so let's hang here for a minute.
Let's do rapid fire. Here we go. Number 1, Halo Infinite.
This is so sick.
We don't need to go this rapid, but yeah.
Hang on. Go back to the last one. Yeah. So this is kind of our spread for the next 4 days. This is everything that we've previewed so far. So as you can see, there's still a few surprises yet to be revealed. I think most of them, if not all of them, all of them should be coming out tomorrow. So yeah, this is our kind of 4-day spread. We'll go through kind of all the posters and just have a good time. But Rob, let's start with so this one, Halo Infinite, the Yoroi Spartan by Sasha Teng. This is currently on sale right now. It's a timed available until Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Yeah, Sashin killed this one, man. So let's go to the next page.
This is one that we didn't go in thinking it was going to be a timed edition, but when we saw the art, it was so beautiful that we felt that it needed to be. So here we are.
This is the second poster in our collaboration with Microsoft. We did a poster with them by Matt Ryan Tobin for last Comic-Con, and then this is the second of 3. So we still have some more plans down the road. But the idea around this one was really just to do an awesome just hero portrait for this new character. This is a new character for Halo Infinite. This new Spartan or a samurai Spartan character. These were Sashin's initial sketches that they sent in. Frankly, any one of them would have been awesome, but ultimately we ended up going with that first option on the far left there. Just felt the most dynamic, most kinetic. These on the left here, you have sort of the next evolution. So once we had picked to go with the kind of running, sprinting concept, this is what Sashin sent over next, and it was just kind of different angles, kind of a worm's eye view, and then a head-on. Again, as you can see from the final print on the right, we went with that worm's eye view, again, just for efforts of dynamism and it just feeling a bit more action-oriented. In the end, we ended up making we just had to make small tweaks just to kind of show off a bit more of the armor. So repositioning the leg, twisting the body to show off some more of that character armor, positioning the sword down to get a little bit more of that in frame. But I mean, Sashin completely wrecked this, and we're super happy with how it came out.
And is this a playable character in the game?
It will be, yeah. So I think it's part of the. So I believe the new Halo game, it's called Halo Infinite, comes out later this year. They're going to do a big free to play multiplayer
cool.
type setting. So, and I think this is one of the characters that'll be available.
Is it going to have cherry blossoms that kind of burst out when you do shit?
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, so that's for real. This is actually the game of cherry blossoms.
Oh, no way. That's amazing.
No, that was a specific note. I think when the character and don't hold us, this is just what I was told. I haven't played the game, but I believe when the character moves, there's a trail of cherry blossoms behind it. So yeah, that was one of the things that for sure we wanted to be sure that was captured in the piece.
Very cool.
I love this one so much.
Yeah, man. So Phantom City, X-Men the animated series, the other greatest superhero animated show of the 90s. I think we're all familiar with Phantom City having completely destroyed Batman the animated series, and now we are very excited to see what they can do with X-Men.
Oh, those sketches are awesome, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We've done 20 some Batman the Animated Series posters now with them. Every sketch, every time they turn one in, there's 6 great things to choose from. It's like this every time. It's crazy. And hopefully this is the beginning of another good series that can go on for a while.
Yeah, because that's an episode title, right? Night of the Sentinels?
Yep.
Yeah, so
I noticed that.
Yeah, so their whole kind of gamut with Batman the animated series.
Bishop.
Oh, we've already started brainstorming. We have a running email, just a ton of our favorite episodes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I thought this was actually pretty easy because, the first one, the X-Men are too tiny. Second one, I don't know. It's like Wolverine's lodging a complaint, less than fighting, and then the third one is XMen like fishbowl. But then the third and fourth, you got this awesome, that X thing itself, just that graphic was so amazing.
Yeah. That's the right choice. The first one reminds me of like a Big Brother, you know, it's like a Orwellian thing.
And there's a couple comments in the chat here that are spot on. I mean, this was the first episode, Night of the Sentinels, and that was chosen for a reason. We wanted this to be the start of a new series, and we thought, what better than, I think everybody that has seen the show has seen at least Night of the Sentinels. So this was the way to kick it off. But yeah, man, fingers crossed that we are going to continue on with that.
Ideally, you walk out of this weekend with the figure and the poster to display it with, right?
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
So this was Mortal Kombat by Rad Dude Oliver Barrett.
Yeah,
What do we have next, Rob?
This was interesting to work on because we started working on it when we saw the trailer, and obviously it's ultra violent. And then as working on it, saw the film. And one thing is this skeleton background. He actually turned it in final without the skeleton background, the skull background, and I was like, we all said we really want that back, and weren't sure how it was going to look, and he added it back in, and it's such a better poster with this skeleton background, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you can tell, but it's all the other characters. Since we weren't able to use likeness rights for a lot of them, it's making skulls. So,
no way, that was an issue.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
It wasn't. It was also more of just a concentrated choice. Like whenever we started doing the skull. So actually, we'll get there. Rob, you want to go to the next slide? We'll kind of go through the process of OB sketches.
Rollins versus Scorpio.
So this was one of these next two slides are just OB's initial sketches. You can see on the side kind of what they were referencing. Ultimately, yeah, so here's a couple other ones. Ultimately, here's where we landed. We loved kind of this just like split between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. And really, when you're talking Mortal Kombat, I mean, Scorpion, you got to have just Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Yeah. They're the coolest characters. They're the best characters. But he sent over he had this awesome idea of just kind of referencing the original game packaging. So you can see on the left, just kind of that background of the stormy sky was from MK2. And then on the right, which was the clear way to go with the wall of skulls. And then if you want to go to the next one, Rob, like Mitch was saying, we thought a fun way to add some Easter eggs into that skull, into that wall back there is just to kind of, let's make them some of the other characters of the other fighters in the game. So you can see kind of Liu Kang's bandana
and Baraka's teeth. I see
Baraka's teeth, Kano's eye, Kung Lao's hat up there in the upper right corner. So yeah, there's a lot of fun kind of Easter eggs thrown into this one.
Are any of you guys good at this game? I used to wreck.
Dude. Yes. Well, not anymore. But my favorite Easter egg, it's blended so seamlessly. But if you look on Scorpion's on the chain around Scorpion's hand, that is one of the cheat codes.
Oh, what?
Into the chain links in there. He kind of buried those links.
Oh man, I love it.
That is crazy.
It's so rad, man.
I bought the arcade 1-up machine during the pandemic.
Oh,
and it's just, no one will play with me, dude. It's just me.
I've been fighting the urge to go down the arcade 1-up rabbit hole, man.
We'll talk.
They did the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, and I've been trying to not do that.
No, I'll talk to you off there about it. I don't want to give you. There's some good secrets I can help you with.
Nice.
No off there, dude.
I want those secrets too, because I want NBA Jam.
I have that too. I just don't know who you're friends with in the business, so I don't want to say anything.
Yeah.
I'll take that offline. Rocky Horror, Rob, you want to talk through this one?
Crazy.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's got text work by Chris Bellheimer, if y'all are familiar with his work for REM and Green Day, Neutral Milk Hotel, and now this.
And this is the main artwork is done by an artist named Julian Totino Tedesco, and he's an artist that we're huge fans of. He does a lot of work in the comic space. We did a poster with him last year for Labyrinth, but he's a brilliant artist. And he actually told us, it's like, hey, do you have Rock? I'd do it. And we were like, we had actually just gotten that license, and we said, yeah, man, like actually we just signed it, so let's get going. And then on the next slide are I think we have some sketches.
And we just offered it to another artist, and they refused. And all of a sudden, Julian came and was like, "Hey, I'd be up for." Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and one thing to note about this poster is keep in mind this is 24 by 36, so this is a powerhouse poster to have hanging on your wall. It's going to have a giant presence.
Dude, the sketches would be awesome posters already, dude.
Yeah, he's so good.
Oh
Look
my
at the sketch to the
God.
left. I did not expect this gorgeous,
Yeah.
troublesome angel to come in. It's the most beautiful picture I've ever seen of Tim Curry.
I agree.
Ever. It's hands down my favorite piece of Rocky art ever, just because it treats him so perfectly.
Yeah.
Any one of them, man, would have been a winner. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we had to go with the big Tim Curry. And like Rob said, I think as much as we were excited about it, we didn't expect, Julian to nail it as well as he did. But in the center there, that was what was sent in with final art. And then, as Rob mentioned, we worked with Chris Boheimer. Amazing graphic designer, and he laid out the type, and we didn't lose the "Don't Dream It, Be It." It's just it's subtly there with the title, and kind of just love how it's. I think Rob said it perfectly. It's like screaming and whispering at the same time. So it's a beautiful poster.
I was referring to the gestural sketches in that.
There's such a
yeah.
No, I totally agree. Yeah,
I know. I was going to say there's such a sensitivity.
Yeah.
There's such a sensitivity in the textures as well, and it kind of it's insane. I'm looking forward to seeing that big in person.
Especially that one on the right. I love how he captured. And again, it's a rough, but he totally got Brad and Janet's personality perfectly.
I love it. I'm telling you, I think
they're awkwardly.
Even as a rough blown up, that would have been just those artists who can do a sketch that's like already great, like Tom. The same thing. It's ridiculous.
We've talked about your sketches at length.
We're not going to talk about them anymore.
All right, what was his name again, Peter?
Flippy and Botmer.
Flippy and Botmer, yeah. I think he's in here now, but we added you, bud. So fig us up. Nowhere to run,
this
kid.
is actually. There's a lot of story to this image, right? It's based on a classic comic panel. Is that
so?
Correct?
It's on the next page, Rob. If you want to go ahead. So anyone that's been buying the Motu toys since the beginning, Florian is a diehard Masters of the Universe fan, and he came to us with this idea completely fully cooked. And he was like, "Hey, back in the day with the original toys, there used to be these mini comics, and this beloved mini comic is this one by an artist named Alfredo Alcala." And Florian wanted to pay homage to that cover of that mini comic with this poster. So I'm not sure if that's been recognized yet, but that's really just the inspiration behind what Florian wanted to do with this. And the show is, or the poster is for the new Motu show that comes out tonight at midnight on Netflix. But again, he wanted to kind of pay homage to the legacy of Alcala's artwork and the mini comics that used to come with the original toys. And he nailed it, man. I love the way this turned out. I love how colorful it is. I love how dynamic it is. And I mean, just those colors are fucking wild.
I love to see. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, shout out to them for letting us do that, right? Because a lot of studios really leave behind and focus on where with it in the future. But shout out to them for letting us reference the past while also doing something for their new property.
Yeah. On the next slide, Rob, if you want to go up one or ahead one, right there. No, I think on the one that has the 4 images on screen. Yeah. So this is just a look at kind of Florian's process. For anyone unfamiliar, the top left is the initial kind of pencil sketch that he sends in. And then from there, you see minor tweaks and changes. To Mitch's credit, we wanted to make sure that this was symbolic of the new show. So we changed out the weapons that kind of matched what's going on with Revelation specifically. And then you just see progressively kind of tighter illustration leading to ultimately the final inks there at the end.
Yeah, and Florian works incredibly traditionally, right? So these are drawings on paper with pencil and ink, and Florian is definitely an old school master of illustration.
And he's been killing it. He's been working with Hector and Mikey on our toy team, doing all of the toy packaging for our Motu figures, and we're super excited to have worked with him on a poster for Masters of the Universe as well. So this is a good one.
As a fan,
we have a variant for it too that we're not showing yet. That's going to be at a later event, but they'll be coming up. It'll be quite wild.
The con.
As a fan, I'd like to request that at some point we collect all these Motu illustrations by Florian in a nice little book, because these are just ridiculous.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Process and all that.
Sketches, all of it. So good, man.
So this Wet Hot American Summer by J.J. Harrison, we love this poster. It's pretty much just an homage to the original one sheet. It's completely bonkers, crazy, just caricatures in the old reminiscent Mad style. But this project also came together super quickly. It's the 20th anniversary of this movie this year. For anyone unaware, or anyone who wants to feel old, this movie came out 20 years ago, and the studio hit us up and asked us if we'd be interested in doing a poster. And we loved this movie. We said absolutely, and kind of immediately we knew that we wanted JJ to tackle it. But he turned this around in like a month. We just got
with approvals.
Yeah, we just got it approved very recently, and I'm so proud that that we were able to pull it together and get it ready for Comic-Con this weekend. But we love it and can't wait to see what we have next with JJ.
JJ is really.
I could say a really old sentence. I bought the DVD for this film at Tower Records in Austin for $20.
JJ is a really JJ's full of surprises. When we first started working with him, he had a very straightforward, incredible style, but he was doing a lot of like Adventure Time comics and had it was a pretty standard like young comic style. And then the ways he's moved into like what he did with our Rad poster, and then now this insane, more painterly caricature style he's done for a few posters. He seems like he can do anything. It's crazy.
He's really dialed in this more painterly effect and painterly style to his work, and it's awesome. And I included a crop of the art itself because, even though they're caricatures, man, did he nail the likeness of everybody. You know exactly who that is. You know their characters. You know their personalities. This poster's so much fun, and I'm super happy we were able to pull it off.
The total vibe.
The Michael Showalter one's quite eerie, and I love the last thing he did. He's like, okay, last thing I gotta do is draw the dead kid, and that's why I found seeing that one image. So he saved that piece of dessert for last.
And I mean that original poster is so tough to. I mean, you can't really top it, right? But I think JJ just paid nice homage to it and just paid tribute to it in a different perspective and different way. I love it.
I'll take the hot take. I think he topped it. This
is something new. This is something pretty new, right? We certainly haven't done this before. We basically, it was Johnny's idea, Johnny Dombrowski, here on this Alien poster. He approached us with this idea of basically treating a scene from Alien as if it were a comic spread. And I got to be honest, there were times during this process that I wasn't fully sure about going this direction. It came out so incredible. I mean, especially within a large sea of movie posters, it just feels really, really different.
Yeah, the main thing is to do something different for Alien because it's been done so often. And now even that we have Sigourney Weaver's likeness available, that's even been done to death. But we realized they just picked up, they just made figures for Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto's characters from the film. We're like, oh my God, are these available now? When we found out they were, and my God, Johnny took that ball and made this beautiful touchdown. Yeah,
like Mitch said, Johnny came to us with this idea kind of fully cooked as well. And he was like, hey, I kind of have this idea of wanting to do a 2-page spread of Harry Dean's death scene. What do y'all think? And we said, sketch it up, man. And this was the first sketch that came in. And I think the next slide has the word bubbles dialed in. Yeah. So came in and like I said, in a sea of a ton of Alien posters, this felt really new, really different, and we were really excited about it. And Johnny completely delivered his inks. But there's where we ended up on final.
Honestly, the biggest thing we have with Johnny is Johnny likes to try a lot of different things. But when Johnny delivers concepts like this, it's really hard to not just think of 10 other movies that this would be great for, right? And so the biggest challenge with him is going to be him being like, quit trying to get me to do this same thing because I want so many more of these. Just like when he turned in his first sort of faux comic cover for movies, we were like, well, this is amazing and I want this for so many different films. And I'm sure that's eventually grating on a creative artist, but this, I could just instantly think of so many films this would fit well.
There's a great touch at the bottom there too on the left-hand side. If this were a comic, it was page 79, and that's a nod to when the movie came out. So,
yeah, my favorite part's the word balloons in front of the xenomorph in the upper right-hand side. It further just kind of like makes it a surprise, like in the movie. Remember, the alien just slowly creeps down. I'm not quite aware. So he used the actual format of the comic to emulate that feeling in the movie. I don't know. It's really smart shit.
I want this exact same thing, but for Home Alone with every trap set against the robbers.
I would love it.
Hey, Murugaya, the man of the hour.
Hey.
Wild, dude.
Yeah, tell us how you took your very psychedelic style to this.
Yeah, I just want to pass the mic to you, man. Kind of walk us through it.
How did I do this? I watched the TV show and I knew I did not want to do a poster until the end of the TV show, until after it was finished, because what I enjoyed most about the TV show was the unraveling of the characters, and there was a new surprise in every episode, and I had no idea where it was going at the beginning and how they were going to explain the 1950s and the kind of like the different era TV shows. How was that going to connect? And yeah, I just wanted to kind of explore these characters to their fullest and their relationship as best I could.
How did you land on? So the show is pretty big and weird. But how did you sort of figure out the way you wanted to lay it out with just the transition between each character and the eras and kind of culminating in their final modern day appearances? But was that sort of, and also for anyone curious, there's not really a sketch here, because what we got, the first thing that showed up in our inbox from Murugaya was what was on the left there. So there wasn't really like an evolution. He completely walked up to plate, swung, and hit a home run like off the bat. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but I'm really just curious of like, did you try anything else that maybe wasn't working? Because you nailed it like from the jump, man. So was this your first idea, or was this your third or fourth idea?
Yeah, I think what normally happens is I put too much detail into the original drawings. So I start to put facial features in, I start to add extra lines into shadings and things like that. And then I always end up taking them out, because with me, it's always about abstraction. How can I abstract the idea as fast or as far as I can, while still maintaining the core element of what I'm trying to get across. So I like this idea of kind of breaking something down to its simplest form, if possible. But the character changes, they were the most fun to kind of see Wanda and Vision kind of go through these different permutations of their characters, and that's what I wanted to represent. It was just the kind of, it felt to me like I know that their love and relationship was probably the most important thing, but the thing that I found the most enjoyable was seeing their kind of comic accurate costumes in the Halloween episode, the kind of the 1950s element and the 70s. It was, and then White Vision as well, kind of seeing White Vision turn up. That was a shocking moment for me. It was like a cliffhanger at the end of the episode. I tend to want to get all of these exciting elements and throw them all into a poster when I can. And it's how I experience the show. And that's exactly how I want to put it down on paper. Yeah, it's
a treat, man. I mean, there's so many great Easter eggs just kind of buried in here. But I mean, as you can see, as people can see, not a whole lot changed. We added a few other things. I think at some point, you wanted to add the sword logo. The title became something that we kind of workshopped until we ended where we did at the far right. And I love where we ended, quite honestly. Like, I love the different period appropriate static effect on the TV. I think that's brilliant and a great way to kind of mirror the transition of the characters that's happening above. But yeah, man, I mean, this poster is beautiful. Even just having their floor plan of their home together up top.
I really like how White Vision's foot is in the real world, along with Wanda. Like, it's a great way of indicating it's a different character from the other visions behind him. And also like how Quicksilver is
correct.
mentioned, but not too much. It's just enough. Just a little bolt to indicate boner, and then there you
go. Ralph Boner.
I think Agatha's inclusion also was one of my favorites. Just having her hands. Aside from just being a really great character design of just having like the black hands of this witch, I love just her being the kind of the puppet master pulling the strings behind everything. Like it's awesome.
The photon reference at the top is so good too, with the color changing. God, it's one of those pieces that just rewards repeat viewings.
Yeah, you got the twins down there in their Halloween costumes.
Put as many Easter eggs in. Yeah, that's right. I was a bit sad about the title treatment across the different TVs, but we managed to have the same effect while still putting in the official logo. You know, the TV transitions are exactly the same as having the titles from each era in those boxes, those TV boxes. But yeah, we managed to kind of maintain that same idea all the way through. That was one of the first ideas I had, wanting to put the titles in each of the TV boxes, but I'm so glad we were able to keep that segment in and just workshop it till it got to its final point.
A great time to be a geek fan right now, dude, when you can get cool stuff like this. So rad, man.
Well, also watch cool stuff like this.
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but I talked to Eric a lot. There used to be a time where I was like, oh, if I could only work on these kind of movies or TV shows, I could bring such a level of like, deep, thematic quality that they could never see. It's being done. Yeah. I can add nothing to this. It's great just to sit back and watch these other geniuses make these shows and then make these posters.
And that's the funny thing. If you were to collect, like if you wanted to celebrate your fandom of the show and you wanted to buy a piece of artwork, the artwork probably wouldn't live up thematically to the show. It would be kind of like mainstream, like iconography. Here's the actress and the actor. But this piece not only encapsulates the entire narrative and plot, but it also has, conceptually some of the mind-bending things that happen and explored visually. It's a badass piece, dude. Congrats.
Shout out to our guy 100% Soft in the comments saying that Rob sounds like he's on an AM radio.
He sounds like Baba Booey.
I live inside an AM radio.
So I do have an idea for Loki. So let's do that one.
I was just thinking in my mind. Let's just go ahead and say this here. Let's make that happen. Let's get our guy on Loki. Let's do it.
For sure, dude.
Gonna happen.
Awesome.
So I see Akiko hanging out backstage. I can bring her on if you're ready. Give me a thumbs up and I'll add you to the party.
We got a full house.
But yeah, we'll give it a few minutes. I think Rory and Akiko will be joining us here shortly, and we'll talk over Logan. But yeah, I mean, this is awesome, Charm. This is one of my favorite posters, and I mean, I've gushed over about it so many times to you, and I'll gush here on camera. But I love this. You completely killed it, and every single poster we get from you is a surprise and a delight. So this is awesome.
God, I'm still trying to think what could possibly happen for Loki. It's going to be so sick. It'd be amazing if it comes in and he just turns in it's just one Loki on there. Like, oh my God, I didn't expect it at all.
Oh, man.
Do you guys want to see my very loose sketch for Loki?
Yeah.
Do
it.
Yeah. Hang on.
Go on.
That is it.
I had no idea you sketch in pencil like that.
Did you sketch that during the stream, or? And you can make this out.
I sketched this during the six episode arc of Loki. I was like, this is the idea. I know exactly what I'm doing with the sketch.
Wow.
So it goes from this to what you normally see in your inbox, basically. It makes no sense to you, but
Peter, congratulations. Someone with more sketches than you.
Fuck, dude. Hey, you just made me look real good, man. I'm gonna sell my sketches now.
Oh God.
I can't wait, man. Maybe we'll.
Kudos to you, man. Who has time with all this to put in all this time into sketches? He turns in one piece, and that's it. That's the done. You got it. I see. Look at Florian with 50 sketches. Get it right the first time, dude. You're professional. Stop being shit. Let's go.
Sharm, can you put that back on camera?
You gonna try and decipher it, Eric?
Oh,
Yeah, remember that from Back to the Future when the doctor put his head on the fucking toilet.
I want to print this on the back of the poster, just key line only.
Can't confirm, dude.
Let's scan that and let's put that on the back as a key line. But no, this is awesome, man. Coming soon to a Mondo shop near you, Loki by Miragaya.
Thank you so much.
Spectacular.
I'm sketches, dude. Tell me you submit that to Marvel for approval.
Oh my goodness, I will do.
But let's go to the chat here. Anyone in the chat while we wait to transition, wait for Rory to jump on. Anyone have any questions for Sharm or for Peter here, or for any of us?
Gator Loki is a must. Warring says.
Agreed.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Don't let us down, dude.
Of course.
How many variants on the Loki poster? Infinite variants.
Oh
Wait, so are we
my
pitching
gosh.
ideas right now?
What did
Like,
I just
what?
sign up to?
Love it.
I guess the question is, do you include the big reveal? Do you in this type of poster? That's the one.
No
thing.
spoilers.
No.
You
Yeah,
haven't
Mitch.
seen it by now, Mitch. You
It's
don't want
like
to see
a
it.
week old.
No, a whole week. Everybody's locked up in their houses. You could have seen it by now.
Sharm, do you mean the Puppet Master reveal?
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, if someone hasn't seen it at this point, it's on them.
Yeah.
Chris, it'll be a pre-order for Miragai's WandaVision. Those will be printed soon.
Beautiful,
In
man.
fact, speaking of whale coin, Eric and I are got to talk to Tom about doing something for that reveal.
Sharm, how did you decide on your color palette? Or how you color palettes?
The show pretty much gave the colors to me. I think they, you know, the Scarlet Witch herself was the first color, and I think the '90s segment, the Halloween segment, really kind of defined some of the colors. They gave us the most kind of poppy colors in that episode, but the colors are very representative of the characters.
Yeah.
And then I added a couple. Yeah, I added a couple of my own. But what I really liked was I've forgotten the character's name. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Agatha.
Ms. Marvel.
Which character?
The
Photon?
one at the top when she goes through
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, when she passes through the portal, trying to get those colors simplified down to kind of, you know, to represent that moment. That was quite difficult. But other than that, most of the colors spoke. You know, they were very obviously placed, I think. I like the Agatha purples as well. I quite enjoy those.
I like how a lot of the so you have, you know, Wanda and Vision within the hex of this reality that Wanda's created, but then surrounding that on the outside is where a lot of Agatha's purples are coming into play. There's a lot of just smart, brilliant design work going on here, man.
I like the staircase behind Agatha's sigil going down to the basement. That's really cool.
That's good, yeah.
Nice hidden bit. It's like dogs playing poker. You see something new every time.
We didn't put Sparky in though, did we? That was
we did.
I asked Eric if we could talk about it. He was half and half.
Yeah, unable on that.
Sorry, did I?
It's all good. Did Mondo have any notes or changes they wanted to do when they received this poster, seeing as how it's a huge departure? No, not at all. Again,
it's a huge departure from what we normally greenlight. We greenlight people taking chances every time.
Yeah.
If you look at everything you guys put out, like just in this weekend's release alone, and stay tuned for tomorrow, it's gonna get weird. Like there's everything. It's so cool. That's the whole point, is that there's a group of people who are curating with eclectic tastes, and there's something for everyone. Like you could find a badass piece that's really out there, you know, celebrating the fandom that you love in a totally different way because people are curating. It's fantastic.
And if you like cherry blossoms, you've got more and more surprises for you.
Yeah.
But if you meant, but real quick though, if you meant that it's not what Marvel usually
that makes sense.
believe it or not, they're pretty open to things. We've had slight issues here and there, but I would say when I'm rating studios, they're pretty open-minded to new art styles. They really are.
Yeah, 100%.
But
But
I heard.
we have 2 other friends ready to join the party if they're ready. Shoot me a thumbs up, pals, if you guys are good to. Cool, I got one. Rory, we good? All right. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Akiko Sterenberger and Rory Kurtz.
Hi, everybody.
Got
How's
a
it
lot
going,
of people
Hey,
here.
everybody.
Got a full
Glad
house.
Rory finally figured out how to get on.
I like that Kiko's well lit and Rory's lit like a Bond villain.
Well, it's a bit later here in Wisconsin than it is in California, so yeah, it's not as bright.
Oh, is it really later? Is it really that late?
I mean, it's, you know, I like to keep it dark in the studio.
Charm, it's what, 1 in the morning there?
Yeah, I think Sharm's puts in
Yes.
1 a.m.
Poor guy.
Hence why I'm getting closer and closer to the screen.
Like the exam soon.
Your WandaVision poster is outstanding,
I
man.
know, we were admiring
Akiko and I were
it
just
while
talking
we were
about
in
it.
we were backstage. I was like, that is amazing. It's so great.
Yeah, and I was saying how like I wasn't familiar with your work until
Guys,
we
thank
just started
you.
talking like a month or so ago, and now it's like everywhere. You know, it seems like your work really kind of exploded recently.
Yeah, I'm super thankful for just these opportunities because I've had these ideas in my mind for a long time, and getting to kind of translate them into some of my favorite TV shows and movies is just, it's a dream come true. So I love it. And to hear it coming from you guys, I mean, I've been in admiration of all of your work for a long time. So this is a little fan moment for me.
No, I mean, it's great. It's great. I mean, the colors, everything, just how it's done. I mean, it's so refreshing to see. So well done.
Yeah, bravo.
The next Mondo con's gonna be sick.
I agree.
Okay, 2023.
But Rory, Akiko, we have you guys on because we did a poster with the 2 of you that we previewed today. If anyone is unfamiliar, I'm going to pull it up on screen and let's talk about it. Logan, are we all on the side here? Yeah. So wow, this poster is awesome. And for anyone unfamiliar, this was a dual effort by both Rory and Akiko. They collabed on the poster together, and we're just here to talk about kind of that process and how that came together, how that worked, and all of that. But this is one on a licensing end. This is one that we're extremely excited about being able to put out. I mean, this is arguably the best of the Fox X-Men movies, and by doing a lot of hard work, we were able to get the thumbs up to pull this together and ask Rory to do a poster, and he said yes, but only if I can bring my friend Akiko with me, and they said hell yes, and yeah, this is where we end up.
That's right.
How long did this poster take?
On and off. I feel like we've been working on it since February, maybe.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I don't feel like, I mean, I don't know how some of the other artists work and how immediate the results are, but normally, like, you know, we're jumping back and forth to a lot of different projects, you know, during the time span that I'm working on a poster. So it could be like 6 months between Mitch or Eric reaching out, being like, hey, do you want to tackle this title? And then the actual thing being revealed, you know, because
Absolutely.
We're working on it and like stops and starts along the way, you know?
Yeah, for sure. How did you guys, what was your collaborative process like on this? I know that's what a lot of people's questions are.
Yeah.
Well, I reached out to Akiko. Like I just, you know, I'm a big fan of Akiko's work, and I have been for a couple of years now. And we've had the good fortune to hang out a few times together and do some other panels together. And honestly, like I used her as a second pair of eyes on pretty much everything I do now. So when Eric tossed that out there doing Logan, I just thought it would be a really great chance to have Akiko sort of art direct me, you know, so to speak, and then handle the design effort because I'm terrible at that. So Akiko was sort of like a receiver of all the work as I was going through it, sending every mock-up to her, and she was sort of pushing me to try it like this, try it like that, move this that way, and so on and so forth. And yeah, so she sort of managed my approach to it and helped me refine it. You know, it was pretty raw when I first brought it to her, but we're working together. We got a much more refined poster out of it in the end.
Yeah, and this was my first time actually just art directing and sitting back and letting somebody execute it. So, I mean, it was an interesting process for me too, and it was really amazing to see how, you know, Rory works, because, you know, every illustrator.
Yeah, you kept saying this was too easy. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing it. I'm like, no, that's what an art director, you're not supposed to be doing the damn art, you know, like, so, but yeah, I mean, she's invaluable. I mean, she's sort of legendary in the film poster art scene already. So, you know, I guess I kind of felt really privileged to have her willing to collaborate with me and sort of help direct this.
How was your assessment of Rory as a client, Akiko?
It's a great question.
Oh man, I mean, with someone as brilliant as Rory, I just pretty much get to sit back and let his genius take over. I mean,
right.
Whoa. Wow.
Right. Okay. Easy.
You've got this art director thing down. This is already
very good.
Yeah.
How very LA.
No, but you know, like Rory said, we met a few years ago speaking at Comic-Con on a panel, and since then we've built a friendship, and you know, we've been throwing each other work here and there, and sometimes we're even on the same projects together. So it's great to see how he works and how different it is from how I work. But yeah, I mean, it was just such an interesting process to see also the stages of it all and the thought process behind it. So I was really proud of how it turned out. I mean, well done, Rory.
Well done, Akiko.
Yeah.
Rob, you want to go? Yeah. So we'll kind of go through. I think on the left was the first thing that showed up in our inboxes that Rory sent over. Just kind of a quick color rough. Is that true, Rory?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, don't mistake it. Like, I've got, you know, dozens of rough drafts, and Akiko threw in a couple herself, and we were both. Yeah, there are always a lot of concepts before it reaches your guys' inbox, and I tend to pick the one, you know, that I would be the most excited to work on in the end. You know, some come together really fast, and it might just be one or two ideas. This one was one where, there were probably a dozen or so before we narrowed it down to something more singular like this, which is sort of more Akiko's flavor, if you don't mind me speaking for you.
No.
And it was sort of mine too.
Yeah, and then
Peter,
on the
Peter, how does this level of detail at Sketch make you feel, Peter?
Well, Rory and Akiko, nice to meet you both. Haven't met you before.
Nice to meet you.
This is Peter here.
But I want to tell you, you're wasting your fucking time with these sketches. Look at your guy. Hold up your sketch again, please, so you can see what the level of sketch that we expect from Mondo. So
That's how my sketches look, though.
No, we're teasing. Look at this. Look at this. This is look at
These
that.
are how my sketches look too.
Yeah. That's all you need, and you get Marvel approval. What are you doing?
No,
Yeah, the likeness really
I
comes
mean,
through.
it's true. I mean, this is what I turn in to my clients. It's literally like that, you know. And then it's just to show the idea, and like I attach pieces of like reference to go along with it. But to see how Rory works, it was really cool to see how organized and precise it was.
It's like a Goya painting. That's what's pissing me off. I mean, Jesus, perfect. That's a rough.
It's gorgeous. The brush.
Well, I feel like, you know, I mean, I don't know how some others feel about it in their process, but like I don't have any confidence in an idea until I get it far enough along that it kind of starts to take shape. So I don't want to submit anything because I'm like, I don't know how this will look on the other end. Like, I need to see some color. I need to see the lighting. You know, like I need to see some texture in it. Like I need to see it. You know, or else if I submit something that's half baked, you know, like I can't guarantee that it'll come out of the oven right. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I guess I do take the mocks kind of far, and that can kind of, you know, get me stuck sometimes on ideas and whatnot. And that's where Akiko helped kind of knock me out of some things, you know? So,
but it's
but
also good too because you managed to not let the client fill in the blanks for you. The more complete you can show something up front, the better you're always going to be.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, their mind's eye is going to make some horrible bullshit. Oh, said you're going to answer this, Mondo trader. I guess we're going to hear it. We're going to hear it. So
yeah, I'll formally ask the question. Hey Rory, hey Kiko, how come there's no Laura in this poster?
I'll let Kiko handle that.
Please,
if you don't mind. I think, a lot of almost all our early mocks had Laura in it. Pretty much everything we were coming up with. And I selfishly, and this is where I kind of bullied it, this is the first time that as far as I know, that Logan's got a licensed, alternative film poster. And it's probably the last time, because from what I understand, these titles will be going in the vault soon, and I never really got a great Wolverine poster out of anybody else. Like, I mean, I've never really seen one in the scene that was legit. And so when, we were working on this, I kind of selfishly felt like, well, I don't want to share, that spotlight with Laura because, as great as a character as she was, I kind of wanted this poster to function as a celebration of Logan through all the 9 or 10 films he was in, you know what I mean? And be kind of like just a definitive look at him as a character study. And I felt like bringing Laura into it makes it incredibly appropriate for the specific film, but makes it difficult then for it to represent him as a character through the whole X universe in all the films he was in. So I felt like it worked better, more totemic and singular with just him against, the sort of the X monument behind him. But it's all to taste. And I know some people will feel, very strongly the other way and some my way.
I think it's a great celebration of Hugh Jackman. So, brother.
Yeah. It definitely was top of mind, and that's why we wanted to talk about it here. Is we did explore the option of adding Laura, but ultimately, in the end, we wanted this to be a piece for Logan, the character, and Hugh. So that's where we ended up, and super happy with where we landed.
And it feels so much stronger that way too.
Yeah,
it's more emotional that way. Yeah. So. It was
and his character carries so many scars, and has all this, the weight of all these stories on his shoulder from all of these films. And then of course the comic backlog that goes along with this character. So he's got like this gravitas, and in the poster, it's in his pose and it's in his body language and the expression on his face and the blood and the scars. Laura doesn't have that gravitas yet. Her character is so new that she doesn't have the weight next to him that he does, Well,
it's not so much that. I think it's also that Logan, the most defining element of his character always is he's a loner. He's always alone. So if you're really going to show the ultimate Logan poster, you can't show him with a buddy.
Yeah, and the title and those big bold letters like Logan, boom, not Logan and Laura. You know what I mean? Like, so it kind of just felt like putting another figure in it. I don't know. It's like so many choices. It's just kind of instinctual, you just kind of go with your gut.
Oh, man, terrible sequel, Logan and Company.
I actually, I really love the repositioning of the moon as well to that top corner. I like how it's kind of placed right above one of the X's, one of the diagonals of the X.
There was
because I'm seeing these things on a very small scale, and it's kind of like it's a nice placement there.
There was a lot of dialogue. Rory, do you want to talk us through some of the different kind of color palettes here and the choices, and why you explored these different options with the colors of the sky that you did?
Yeah, like for the first one, the red one was the initial jumping off point, and I'm sort of happy we ended up going back to it because I had this idea of him sort of under a blood red sky. Just sort of symbolic of, the journey he has in this film. And, but, I wanted to present choices and variants and different, hues and whatnot, and hues, no pun intended. But I really didn't mean that. But in the end, it just came back to the red, it was just kind of finding that time of day where the sun is low and casting really long, sort of memorial shadows, but the moon is also out. So you're getting that sort of dual light that you get, at that sort of golden hour.
And
then
red is such a bold color to offset this pensive mood too. So I think it was great that it returned back to that.
And the pop, gives it that pop.
I get like a
great color for the end of the road too, because his green days are well over. The solid days over there on the road.
Yeah. That's what I liked. It felt a bit more dusk than dawn, which that third one feels more like a new beginning type thing. And it's like, no, this is Logan at the end of his journey. So it felt more appropriate thematically as well.
I got a
more
strong
autumn than spring.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but I get a strong Road to Calvary vibe on this one, because I know it's supposed to be an X, but it definitely looks like a crucifix he's carrying up the road.
Well, that alludes obviously. Yeah, it alludes to the film very much, and that memorial of his. And actually, if you look closer, I don't know if anyone's bothered to count, but there's probably 100 X's within the art if you zoom in on it. And people, when you look at the topography of the scars on his body and all the X's and crosses, going into the background and whatnot, there's a lot of it, and it just kind of felt like a natural theme to fit in there, but subtle enough that hopefully it wouldn't be, too generic looking.
Yeah, I love that.
I just realized all it's missing is a cowboy hat. Wow.
Yeah,
And a patch, one patch for all the old school comic fans. And
here's a look at Rory's final pencils before he starts getting into kind of coloring and texturing and all that. This is what just the line work looks like.
Stunning.
I want to do a collect. I was digging through some of the pencils for our other posters like Ex Machina and Annihilation, and really want to do some sort of, I don't know, something
Coloring
with
book?
them. Because they're so much fun, and I'm like, I don't know. It just seems like a shame that they rarely get seen. We only ever see the final art.
Yeah.
I'd love a Roy Kurtz Ex Machina coloring book. That'd be amazing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We give a prize to the best one, Just give it to Matt Taylor to color. Oh my God, he cut my working time in half.
But here's a look at just different styles and approaches to the title treatment. Do we go no scratches? Do we go a lot of scratches with the claws? And ultimately we decided to keep it bold, keep it simple, and not really texturize it up too much.
Akiko was for more scratches. I was for less scratches. That was a point of debate between us.
I know, it's a first for me. I usually like to keep it simple. So when it went back to simple, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm down for that.
That's great.
And then, so the regular edition is going to be a timed edition release, which means it'll be available for pre-order for 2 days. It'll go up on Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time and then run until Monday at noon. But that'll be timed. Anybody that goes within that time frame can get one if they want one. There'll also be a limited edition variant, and the variant is going to be printed on a brushed metal foil paper. And then here, what you're looking at is just sort of the first idea of what. In the past, we did an Ex Machina poster with Rory on foil, and boy, does this guy know how to use foil to great effect to really have it enhance the art instead of detract or distract from it. So we brought up the idea of doing a foil poster, and Rory, this is kind of his first idea that we had, was basically any sort of metal plus the title and moon would have that foil paper.
Well, yeah, I mean, I felt like the moon. I was sort of going off the idea of like a silver dollar moon, so I felt like it could probably work in foil. But I mean, this was like the first attempt. Like, let's just do it all and start and subtract. You know what I mean? Like, where we don't need it. But first, finding out like, is it worth foil? Like, is there anywhere where it would have value in the piece? Because, like you said, Eric, I mean, I've seen it done, elsewhere where it's just kind of a gimmick and people are just print it on foil. You know what I mean? Like, it'll look cool. But if it doesn't, support the work and add to it, then it detracts from it, in my opinion.
Agreed. So like Rory said, we kind of started up front with everything and then dialed it back to, let's just do the pieces that are really going to hit. So let's do his claws and let's do the title. And yeah, we did a lot of research on finding the most appropriate type of foil paper to use. And John Smith, our who handles all of our SEPs and gets everything ready for print, he came back and said, hey, I found this I think it was Tom Whalen actually had just recently printed on this brushed metal foil paper, and we were able to get a couple looks at how that turned out, and it has this really beautiful kind of subtle texture to it. It's not super shiny. It's not like a mirror foil. And yeah, we decided to go with that kind of brushed metal, kind of make it feel kind of grizzled and worn versus super shiny.
I mean, it's subtle. I mean, like, you know, I guess I would ask you guys, like, for a piece like this in the future, do you do any sort of like overprinting with, like, you know, you see how James Jean will do, like, you know, a screen printing with different like lusters and whatnot on top, you know, of his work. Like, do you guys dabble in that at all with any of your other work? Where like maybe this would be done in a foil on top, you know?
Not too much. That's really the problem. The challenge with that is, so he uses a printer named Brad Pressure Printing out of Denver, and they're very all in-house. They're very multi-medium. So they can do foil letterpress, they can do all that embossing, they can do screen printing all there. The challenge that we get into is if we wanted to screen print and then have to do, you know, sort of a foil press over something, we would have to send it to a whole different second print shop. And you just get into kind of scary situations shipping large stacks of posters around to multiple shops, in my opinion, when it comes to damage and things. So, yeah, I mean, the relationship that James has with Brad is incredibly unique. And I think that's why they're doing so well, is because Brad is basically James's mad scientist and figures all that stuff out in-house. And it's amazing. Long answer to a short question.
No, makes perfect sense. Yeah. I suppose taking it out of DNL just adds a whole nother layer of complexity to it that, you know, is unnecessary. We could just print it onto foil in the first place. I guess I just was looking at it like a cost benefit of, like, you know, when you're revealing such an economical amount of foil through the art, like at what point is it, you know, more practical to simply print a foil, like, you know, a coat on top as opposed to revealing it from underneath. But
it gets into all kinds of crazy things, like, does the screen printer cut it down before they send it over? And if not, like, is the letterpress printer able to cut down a print that large? And just all these crazy logistical issues.
And then, calendars and schedules lining up to get it done at the same time and so on. Yeah, I was just curious.
I gotta admit, when you know you're paying that expense and only for that small little effect, I don't know, that makes it way better for me. I mean, it doesn't. When I first was coming up, I remember there was this poster Kozik actually did, where it was like his first like 20-color poster, and one of the screens was just for a little bit of green in the eye, which was so insane that it always stayed with me.
I'm always for that. Effect. Yeah, although I get poo-pooed for using too many screens, but man, if you let me, my first couple were like 18, 19 screens. Like, and even now, like I still can't get under like 12 on my best day. You know, I just can't help it. I want all the colors.
No, and I think that's what people should know, is like, we don't want to charge $100 for every poster by you, but we also want to put out the closest thing to your vision and not, you know, get things down below that. So, you know, you work in a style that costs a little bit more to make and a little bit more to sell as well.
Yeah, and I'm grateful. And and to your and just for everybody listening in, like, Mondo's never asked me to turn in less than whatever I want in screen counts. And in fact, John Smith's reached out once or twice with like, hey, here's an offer. Here's a way I can help you consolidate some of those screens. But if you don't want to do that, don't. We'll just run it as is, you know, like, so you guys have been really amiable about that. I do appreciate that.
So Rory uses all his screens for skin?
What was that?
I said, so he uses all of his screens for skin? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. I did use a lot of screens for skin on this one. Yeah, I probably.
When Rory turned into his very first poster ever, he goes, I did the test myself. No worries, man. We're like, great. And it's for Captain America. And it had like 28 colors. And no joke, like 12 of them were just pinks and peaches, all this stuff to make Captain America's like skin perfect.
Maybe it was 20. Let's not, you know, all that sort of those apocryphal stories, you know, like
That's where we shared with John. John's like, "Oh, I can make this look exactly the same with half the color." I'm like, "Oh, John, thank you."
Well, he's a master. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
and I've tried to twist his arm into sharing. The problem is, like, there's no resource to learn this in a easily in a book. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have the benefit of art school to learn it, and I don't know that they even teach anything like this level of screen printing in art school. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like what the scene has done over the past 10 years is so radically different than it even would have been 20 years ago when I was in school, So, where do you learn this stuff? I don't know. Like I've gleaned so much from Edmonston's book, even though
that's the only book I know.
And his process is very specific to his style. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily lend itself to everybody, but other than that, it's just trial and error, and John Smith and his follow-up emails, do this, do that,
Yeah, John Smith is a real secret weapon, and there's, I think, Josh here in the comments that he needs an interview with John. We definitely have talked about that, and I would love to do one of these happy hours where we have John on here and just kind of talk through his process and all the work he does, because he really is just like, he's a secret weapon here.
Yeah, and any artist that wants to learn it more that works with us, you can always ask to have your file sent back to you when it goes to print, just to sort of learn how that works and get a look at. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Yeah,
there's a question here asking about. I had said something that this poster was tough from the licensing perspective, so I can't go into like the nitty gritty details, but essentially, when Disney got the rights back, or got the rights from Fox, a handful of companies were allowed to do stuff for the Fox titles, and thankfully, we were one of them. But it didn't come with hue likeness, so we had to do a little bit of legwork on our own to make that connection and forge that relationship and get this approved by Hugh Jackman. And we were able to pull it off thanks to the help of Tim Weish from our licensing team, who is now over at Dark Horse. So we pulled it off, and it was a long road, but we got there, and here we are, and it's awesome.
I was showing this to some of the other artists in the Mondo community while we were working on it, and the title "Huge Jacked Man" sort of kept getting projected onto it, because I kept like making him more and more muscular as we were going, and I kind of wanted it to reach kind of a more mythical proportion than the reference that I was pulling from. I'm like, I could push this a little further. Yeah, so I hope Huge Jackman's liked it a lot.
It harks back a little bit to that Hercules sculpture from my art history class, that Farnese Hercules. I don't know if you're familiar with your art history.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, Mitch?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's a compliment. It's like he's so jacked and like just like brooding at the same time. It's fantastic.
So, by the way, I just want to say that animated X-Men Wolverine packaging choice, fucking chef's kiss.
Yeah,
Chef's kiss, man. That was perfect.
Shout out Hector and Mikey from our
they're killing it.
That's the brainchild of Hector and Mikey. They completely destroyed that figure from top to bottom, and that packaging, like you said, is the cherry on top.
Dude, it's such a ballsy, ironic choice for it would have been 99 of 100 other designers would have just said, no, I'll just put it in a cool blister pack or put it in a fighting or whatnot. But seeing him on that bed holding that picture frame, like, yeah, I'd buy that for that alone.
Someone pointed this out. It's really amazing. It means he must have stolen the photograph
from their room. Yeah.
Yeah.
He went in there, took it.
Yeah, it's a big Comic-Con for Wolverine, for our friend Wolverine this year. But
do you think he's going to come back? Do you think Jackman's going to make another appearance? Do you think?
I mean, like, yes.
He's working out on his Instagram. He's working out.
He's always huge.
No, dude, that's the whole interview he did recently.
We're in the multiverse. That's right.
If we're in the multiverse, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little Old Man Logan cameo or something.
There was an article or some interview that came out that Kevin Feige had met with both him and what's his name, dude? Professor X. I can't tip of my tongue now.
Patrick Stewart.
And then there was some article that Hugh Jackman said, "Yeah, but I don't want to get in that shape anymore. I'm done. I'm all done." So, but then he started getting working out again. Multiverse.
Put on a jacket.
If they can't get Hugh, we'll send Robin. It'll be all right.
And from what I understood, and now I'm just geeking out totally on it, but from what I understood, like his arc in Logan wasn't necessarily like a part of the larger story of those films. That it was sort of an Elseworlds approach or outside the continuity of the X films. So they could technically maybe bring him back as his character was in those earlier films, sort of in continuity, you know?
We got 50 Lokis, dude. We can do anything.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I just want
they could bring in like 3 or 4 Jackmans. It'd be amazing. They could bring in Peter Allen Jackman. That'd be even better if y'all watched The Boy from Mars.
I want
Hugh Jackman.
Thank you.
One version of Wolverine from the multiverse needs to be 5 foot to live up to my childhood dreams of being a short kid and having my own hero.
Just get
a 5'3".
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, what if they brought Danzig in to be Old Man Logan?
That's what I was saying. Get
Oh.
Oh.
That's so good,
Just
dude.
grow out the sideburns though, or paste them on. Oh, poor guy.
But while we have,
I think Russell Crowe was supposed to be Wolverine for a little while there too in the early days.
And Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman?
That was the 90s rumor. Dustin Hoffman. You remember that? That was in a Wizard. Yeah, in the 90s. Like when I was
in the Wizard in the Dreamcast section.
Well, it was like
it was
DiCaprio as Spider-Man, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Colossus, Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. The
but
Dream
in
Team.
the mid 90s, you know.
Wolverine man.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I like this idea of this Wolverine, Into the Spider-Verse, Wolverine verse crew pulling up a bank heist of some sort.
I want a Sam Keith Wolverine to come already. Let's go.
Now it feels like Comic-Con. This is great.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of nerds.
First comic book I ever read was Havoc Wolverine Meltdown by Kent Williams. And he has a really expressionistic version of Wolverine that's like all forearm and winged hair tips and whatnot and bloody and anatomical. And that just blew my mind. And I've been a Wolverine. Out of the Marvel universe, he's definitely my top choice.
Yeah.
I forgot Kent Williams painted that. Oh my God. I had that.
Yeah, he did.
It was cover.
Yeah, it was John J. Muth and Kent Williams collaborated on it. John J. Muth did all the Havoc panels, and then Kent Williams did all the Wolverine panels, and they somehow made them work together. It was fantastic.
Let's get a Kent Williams Wolverine poster next. Everybody add him right now.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Please. I would love that.
Maybe. Yeah. You never do know. But
that sounds really good.
I want to thank all of y'all for coming on and hanging out tonight, man. This was great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah, thanks for giving us a chance to take a stick at Logan.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Let me do a quick round table here. Everybody, if you want to shout where people can find you or follow your work, but let's start with you, Sharm.
Yeah, you can find me at Murugiah, Murugiah, everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, no Facebook, unfortunately. But yeah, that's me.
Akiko, where can people find you and follow you?
Just on Instagram. My handle is Doyrivative. That's DOYRIVATIVE.
Awesome. And Rory?
Short and sweet, RoryKurtz.com.
Peter.
Attack Peter everywhere online, but most importantly, tune into tomorrow's Mondo stream with Toy Talk, right? That's going to be a good one. Should we tease that?
Yeah. Just to wrap things up. We have go for it.
You guys know more than I do. Hector and Mikey and the Toy Talk gang are going to have a really, really exciting panel tomorrow.
Yeah, so that's going to do it for us tonight. But like Peter's saying, tomorrow we're back. Hector and Mikey from our toy team, they're here with Toy Talk at 4:00 Central Time. And then Saturday, Mo and Spence will be doing the Art of Soundtracks panel at noon. Guys, we're going to have new releases a lot this weekend. So go to mondoshop.com/Comic-Con to follow along, or Mondo News on Instagram. And we hope everybody has a good time and stays safe. And again, thank you everybody for hanging out tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Bye guys.
Bye.
See y'all soon.
Get it?
I think Eric left us live.
F.
I'm back.
We're still alive.
We are still alive, but I made it. But anyway, that was a smooth ending, just like a smooth beginning. All right, y'all.
Post-credit singer.
All right, everybody have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Later.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.